What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, comfortable 3-1 win over Palace, about what you'd expect based on the performance today, and honestly, even before the game, I was kind of expecting something along these lines. First half, we dominate possession, we dominate the play, can't really get that finishing touch because you've got Murata up top who doesn't really help you out a whole lot, so eventually the goal does come, though, and it is through Murata, but it's not necessarily anything he did. It was just defender finally gets out of in front of him, and the ball comes back in. He happens to be standing in space. Goal. Second half, of course, Palace starts stronger. Defensively, we're still very weak, so we're liable to give up a goal like we did. Just through ball in behind. David Luiz step into the ball instead of tracking the man that's on his side. And so he gets beat for pace. Kepa doesn't really do anything. He stands inside of a 6-yard box, leaves the entire backside of the goal open. Easy finish for Townsend. And then, of course, the subs come on. Hazard comes on for Willian, and Kovacic comes on for Barkley, and, changes the game. And once again, it's not necessarily anything Sarri is doing with the subs. It's the people he's bringing off the bench are just that good. So I'm still concerned as far as when we do make subs, when Sarri makes subs, but we don't have somebody like Hazard or Giroud to come off the bench. What are we going to do in those games? And that's why I wasn't really concerned today, because we had those options from the bench. We had those options to bring off the bench and change the game for us. We didn't have to do anything special. We just had to make sure Palace didn't run away with it. So I was never really concerned about that. But you look at the West Ham game, it's the perfect example. All you have on the bench really to bring off is Murata. And even he doesn't really do anything. Everybody else not really a game changer. So it's in those moments, whenever there's nobody on the bench to turn to, those are the games that I'm concerned about. I don't think Sarri has the ability to change those games. So just kind of, once again, throw my 2 cents out there, why I still am a little hesitant to get super excited about this game. But overall, you look at the performance, you look at the lineup that was put out there, even the subs were okay, still not my top choices, I think. But it was still overall a good game overall. So let's talk about, I guess, first of all, Sarri and the subs that he did bring on, because, Hazard and Kovacic coming off the bench were 2 foregone conclusions. I knew they were going to be the first 2 to come on. I assumed it was probably going to be about the 60-minute mark, and sure enough, that's about what happened. So Hazard comes on for Willian, which in my opinion is a good choice, because Willian wasn't really doing much today to help us. He was on the ball a lot, but he wasn't being very effective. Barkley, second half, I did think he dropped off a little bit. First half, he played pretty well, and he's been playing better as the season has gone on and as he's gotten more time. But second half, he did drop off a little bit. I felt like his passes weren't connecting as well. So I did agree Kovacic should come on for him, just because, Kovacic is a great player, and I do think he's got some more quality than Barkley has. Even though Barkley's been working his butt off, I do think Kovacic, when he's on top of his game, is a better option than Barkley. So another good switch. The last one I do kind of disagree with, Fabregas on for Jorginho. I don't think Fabregas or Jorginho have enough to justify putting them in that position, because Conte's better there. I've said this a million times, I know, but I'm going to say it again, because once again, that's the sub that Sarri is making. On top of that, I think Loftus-Cheek has been playing out of his mind. So why not let him have some time? Why not give him a little bit of time today to show some more of that? So I don't know. I realize maybe you're probably going to let him play. I'm pretty sure we have a Europa League game this midweek. So I'm pretty sure he's probably going to start that game. But why not just give him some time in the Premier League as well? Because honestly, we could have used a big body in the midfield today, and he provides that. So I don't know. It just seemed I didn't think it was a good decision to bring Fabregas on over Loftus-Cheek. It's not like the worst decision in the world. I'm not going to trash Sarri for it, but it's just one that I disagree with. And then aside from that, as far as the lineup is concerned for Sarri, it's about what you'd expect. Still no Giroud, so Murata has to start. Hazard's returning from injury, so I agree Willian and Pedro probably should start. And as far as the midfield, Barkley over Kovacic. Based on Barkley's recent performances, I'd say he is kind of fighting for Kovacic with that spot. But if Kovacic can start to turn on the quality in the finishing aspect as well, I think he is a lot more creative than what Barkley brings. So it's really just who's, I guess, getting on the end of assists and goals right now. So with that being said, now move on to the individual performances. Kepa only had that one save to make that ended up being a goal, and like I said, he really didn't do anything. He just kind of stood there in the box. He didn't step out to force him to miss. He just kind of stayed there like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And once again, 85 million for a keeper that just is so indecisive. That's not good enough. You know, we could have Willie doing that in goal, and he cost us way, way less. I think he was free. So I'm really trying to grasp what this kid has that we spent so much for. And so far, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything to justify the price tag. I haven't seen anything to justify why he continues to be put in goal. Because honestly, I've seen more from Willie in the games that I've seen him play. You know, in the Carabao Cup and the Europa League, that one game he played, I saw more like great saves that I've seen from Kepa all season. So I'm really struggling to understand why we spent that much for him and then why he continues to play, because he's really not providing much. So that's still frustrating. In the back line, all four of them, except for Alonso, had a decent game. Alonso's still just... I know he got the assist for Pedro's goal, but God, it's his first assist in how many games? I mean, he's not done enough on either side of things. I mean, attacking is something that I don't really expect from him because he's a fullback, but it's the one thing that kept him in the team at the beginning of the season. He was scoring, he was assisting, he was providing good attacking play. He's not doing that anymore. And defensively, he's getting beat behind every time. And there are also some decisions on the ball that I noticed today. I don't know why I noticed it. It just sort of stuck out to me today. Like, there's a moment where he and Kovacic are both going for the same ball. Kovacic has an opportunity to drive at the goal where he's running backwards. He takes the ball off of him. Alonso does. And then runs down the line and then gets the ball tackled off of him. But then he wins it back and then plays it to Kovacic. So basically, you took the ball off of him, wasted more of your legs, dribbling down the line, nearly lost it, and started their counterattack just to give the ball right back to Kovacic. Or another moment where, I can't remember who it was, I think it was Willian had gone down because I think he got hit in the face or something when he was running in. And Palace is like, look, play it out. And it looked like maybe Jorginho was like, all right, play it out. Alonso takes it on the line, doesn't play it out, dribble, loses the ball, starts a counterattack, gives away a foul in a dangerous position that they can dump the ball in from. Decisions like that, dumb decisions, that is what kills us. Those moronic decisions. And it mainly comes from Alonso and David Luiz right now. And they're on the same side of the field. So it's difficult for me to watch that because I'm watching them defend, I'm watching them on the ball, and at times it can get really frustrating. And yet we don't have any better options. You know, we don't have any better options at left back. Christensen hasn't really coated himself in glory in the games I've seen him, so he's not really a better option than David Luiz right now. And it's just like, our transfer team let us down. Once again, we did not do our job, and it's showing. And it's really, really killing us in some of these games. As far as the rest of the back three, or the back four, Rudiger was solid today. There were a couple moments where he kind of turned off defensively, where I was just like, you know, he hasn't been doing that recently, so when I saw it today, it seemed a little out of character for him, so I'm concerned. Spilicueta had a few moments here and there where he got beat a little too easily, but he also had some good moments as well, because, you know, going up against Zaha is no easy task, and I thought he stuck to it very well. David Luiz, you know, made that one mistake where he stepped into the ball and lets Townsend in behind him way too easily. I don't know if Alonso communicated to him at all. It also gets frustrating sometimes when it looks like he's trying to be the leader back there, but then does dumb things on the ball that doesn't look very leader-like. Like there's a moment where he kind of stands on the ball and he pokes it over to Rudiger, and then Rudiger plays it out wide to Spilicueta, and you see David Luiz like, come on, let's go. You're the one that stood on the ball for like 5 seconds. Why are you telling them to hurry up now? So it's moments like that I get really frustrated watching him, but like I said, don't really have a better option than him, unfortunately. And before anybody says anything, I'm going to address the Cahill thing, because the fact that Sarri said, oh, Cahill's still my captain whenever he's on the field, after that game against Derby, once again, my faith in Sarri is not there because of comments like that. When he says David Luiz is one of the best defenders he's seen, comments like that. Cahill's still a great player, still an asset, he's still the captain at this club. Comments like that. Is he blind? Because just watch the game. Cahill is the worst player we had out there. David Luiz is one of the worst players, one of the worst defenders that I've seen in a while. And comments like that just kind of make me think Sarri does not know defending. He does not know what a good defender looks like. So, anyways, into the midfield. This midfield three we've kind of seen a lot of with Jorginho, Conte, and Barkley. It's pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Jorginho, same exact thing I've been saying for the past few games. Defensively, he's just not good enough. Passing-wise, he's not really doing anything special. He's just linking up play. Anybody can do that. Conte still working very hard, but still looks a little bit out of position sometimes. Because, there are moments where he has the ball top of the box. I'm thinking a more attack-minded player would just have the shot and maybe get a corner, maybe get a deflected goal, maybe just challenge the keeper at some point. But Conte he doesn't have that mindset. He's looking more to find somebody else to have the shot because he's an unselfish player. That's great, but we don't need that there. And so my thought process is Conte needs to be dropped in. Maybe Jorginho would shoot there, so maybe he'd be better further up the field. I don't know. But right now, Jorginho is not doing enough to convince me that he needs to be at the center defensively of those three. And Conte is just not really providing enough in the attack to convince me that he doesn't need to just stay back and be the defensive player in front of the back line. And on top of that, you look at the pass that led to the goal. I'm willing to bet you that Conte would be step into that, which would allow the defense to drop off a bit more. But Jorginho is nowhere near it. And I know it was a giveaway that led to it, but still, Conte would not leave that position if you put him there. So just all these little hints and clues, and I'm just like, sorry, hey, look at these hints and clues. What do you think we should do? It's almost like I'm trying to help out like some kids on like Dora the Explorer or Blue's Clues. I'm just like, hey, look, Jorginho can't defend. Conte can. What do you think we should do? And Sarri's like, put Jorginho in the defensive position. I'm just like, no. Anyways, Barkley on the left side, first half I thought was really, really good. It's a continuation of how he's been playing. He's really been performing really well. And it's just a product of his hard work, which I'm glad because there are some players that I think don't really work hard, but then they get rewarded with more playing time. Barkley, in my opinion, has been working hard, he's been getting better, and he gets rewarded with more playing time, and that's how it should be. Even though Kovacic is a good player and has been performing well, Barkley's just been stepping it up a little bit more. He's gotten goals to go with it, so it justifies why he's on the field, and I'm glad for him that happened. But like I said, second half kind of dropped off a little bit. I don't know, he wasn't necessarily not as involved. It just felt like he wasn't really connecting as much. And part of that could be down to the fact that we just weren't really connecting with the front three at the beginning of the second half. But I don't know, it felt like he wasn't being as effective as he was in the first half as far as winning the ball and finding the passes. And then onto the front three. Willian, he was all around. He was involved but not being effective. It felt like a lot of his passes and crosses just led to nothing. A lot of his dribbles didn't really lead to anything. Pedro was kind of the opposite. He didn't really feel like he was as involved as Willian, but whenever he was, it felt like he was contributing something. Not always. There's still moments when his strength can hurt him because he's not strong enough to stand up to some of the challenges. And so there's still moments when he loses out because of that, but he's showing a lot of his cleverness in the past couple of games that I've seen him play. And, the goal today was just kind of another example of how quick he can read a situation and put himself in a good position to find a shot. So I think of the two, I'm going to go with Pedro having the better game today. And it kind of has been a thing where Willian, when he's playing well, Pedro is not. And when Pedro's playing well, Willian's not. So it's almost like they just kind of trade off. And today was another good example of that. Murata, going to be fair. I'm glad he got the 2 goals. I'm happy for him. It's a major part of what we need from him for sure. And I say this about a lot of strikers. The strikers that score but don't necessarily do anything. I'm not a big fan of that because I prefer to have somebody on my team. That's why I prefer Messi over Ronaldo in that whole argument that I know people are going to argue about forever. But I prefer Messi because he does more to get his teammates involved, whereas Ronaldo, he's a great finisher, but most of the time he just puts himself in a good position and benefits off of great play around him, which is fine. You know, you do need a player that can finish. So I don't mind that, but for me personally, I prefer a player that can get themselves more involved. And Murata is not that type of player. So while he did get the 2 goals today, and that is what we need out of a striker, that's only part of it. It is a good part of it, but it's part of what we need him to do. Now we need him to get more involved in the build-up play. We need him to get more involved in opening up lanes or being there for passes, not just he's making runs behind the defender and then the defender, heads it right back to Pedro, and then because the defender's now out of position, now he's in, open space and can find a goal. Or, the second goal. All these defenders miss it. He just happens to be back post away from everything, and because everybody missed it, it goes right to him and he finishes. That's great. It's not going to happen every game, though. There's not going to be moments where defenders make mistakes every single game. So, and even if there is, it's going to be 1 or 2 mistakes, not how many did he have today? 6 or 7 chances from some defensive mistakes. So I want to see the other part of his game grow. Now that he actually is scoring some goals and he's getting the finishing side down, I need to see more work rate out of him. And it's why, you look at Giroud, he played every game for France and they won. He never scored, but they didn't need him to. And that's how I feel about Giroud at Chelsea. We don't need him to score because he's creating chances and opportunities. His hard work is opening up the spaces for the players around him to benefit. While Murata doesn't really do that for us. And it's why it's so difficult for us to get chances whenever he's on the field, because he's not doing anything to trouble the defense and open up space for players like Willian or Pedro to get their chances. And so it's always going to be an issue. It's something that when Hazard came on the field, that's when the chances started coming more often, because he's a player that affects everybody around him. He gets them involved. He opens up space for them by his runs. That's why he's such an effective player, and it's why Giroud is such an effective player. So Murata's got to learn that side of it, or else he's just going to be, a bit part player that will come in, score a couple goals because he can finish, and he'll benefit from the good play around him. But he's not going to be a player that I'm going to turn to rely on him getting a goal, because he doesn't do enough to help the players around him. So anyway, that's my little explanation there. As far as the players that came on, Kovacic and Hazard obviously came on and changed the game. Kovacic very clever on the ball, so putting him in the midfield helped us keep a bit more possession, because we were kind of losing out the midfield the first 10 minutes of the second half. Hazard, like I said, came on, and all of a sudden the attention's on him, trying to stop him, trying to slow him down, and especially because he's coming on fresh when they've been defending most of the game. It's so much easier for him to come on in those situations as well. So yeah, he took it to him, caused a lot of problems. I think once we got the 2 goals, it almost kind of felt like it was just easy, and he didn't really have to do a whole lot to be involved. And then Fabregas came on and honestly didn't do a whole lot to impress. In fact, he nearly gave up a chance late on by a terrible pass just right to them, and then it sets up a counterattack. So, again, I'm not really sure why Fabregas, why not Loftus-Cheek, or even if you want to go more defensive, why not put Zappacosta on for Pedro, because Zappacosta is more a defensive player than Pedro is. It's stuff like that when Sarri makes those decisions where it's just a like-for-like switch. Once again, it shows he's very stubborn with his decisions. He's not very adaptable. He's going to do the same thing every game. He's going to switch the same players for the same players, and that's all you get out of him. And it's kind of disappointing, in all honesty. But anyways, so those are my thoughts on the game overall. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on today's game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.